It's called the block schedule.
It's actually called the AB block schedule, not just all block scheduling. Anyway, the pen to the sideboard honors geometry, or the acorn say when it grew up. Geometry, okay? The 26th of November on this fine Trooper Tide Tuesday. S to BBA, what's that stand for, Taylor? Student to be able to. The T is silent. Interpret and solve for slope. And use it to write equations, section 4.4. Okay, this is actually an Algebra 1 concept. We're reviewing an Algebra 1 concept today.
And now where are my notes? My notes are gone.
I'll put it back in my mouth.
Okay.
It's just my picture. I swear. I promise.
Do we quit now?
Sorry, I didn't think I'd have to worry about people passing notes in 2019.
Yeah, no, that's supposed to be
That's
just passing the notes.
Exactly.
Slopes and lines. Slope is the rate of change along the y-axis to the change along the x-axis between any 2 points on a line. So our equation is what minus what over what minus what? Who can tell me?
X minus X.
X1
minus Y.
Y minus Y1. 2 minus Y1.
Oh my goodness, I was close.
Over X2 minus 1.
Difference in y's over the difference of x's. Does it really matter which y we put first?
Yes.
No.
No! But what is important?
That
Y
Y over
stay
X.
together and X is
That what?
That Y is over X.
That y is over x? What else?
That the
Y
numbers
stay together
match.
and X is stay together.
They match up. So if you put the second y first, you have to put the second x first. Put the first y first, you have to put the first x first. Okay? You can't mix them up. Okay? Graphing, we also think of it as what over what?
X over Y.
Rise over run.
I knew it.
The rise is how much the y's are changing. The runs is how much the y's are changing. Okay, left to right, up and down. Okay? Yes. This is an Algebra 1 concept. Okay, we're reviewing it today.
Y.
Okay, because it's used in geometry as well.
So that's done.
Okay, continuing on.
Agree.
We have 4 different kinds of slope. We have what kind of slope? Positive or negative?
Oh, positive.
Positive. It looks like it's going uphill. The positive slopes look like it's going uphill if you go left to right, which is how we read here in the States, okay? So if we're not looking at one of those Japanese manga books that Jade might look at, okay, we go left to right.
Are we
So you
just
go
reading a
up.
manga?
Up. What?
Are we just reading a manga?
I can see that. Okay. What would this be? What kind of slope would this be on the top right? Negative slope. The negative slope looks like not like it's going uphill, but what kind of hill? Downhill. And negative will be down. Oof, I need an end there. Okay. Horizontal lines have a slope of what?
2.
0. Very good. Here's how we can think about this. Is it rising at all?
No.
No. So the rise is 0, and the run is literally any number. And 0 divided by any number is 0.
It's a
Vertical line right over here would be what kind of slope?
undivided.
Undefined. Which I was wrong to un.
this.
Okay. And it's any number divided by 0. Very good. The rise is literally any number. The run is 0. It's not running left or right at all. And that's undefined because when you divide by 0, it breaks math. Seriously, like you don't have a way to do it. Like you can split 0 things in any number of groups because everyone just gets 0. But you can't split things into 0 groups because it's not possible to have 0 groups.
So
You can have one group.
break.
Yeah, 0.
Wait, could they be imaginary number though?
Nope. Because imaginary numbers are reserved for the square root of negative 1.
Can you have a negative one group?
No, we can split it up into one group and then we have our division rules and multiplication rules to say it's negative.
I just want to say I enjoy algebra 10 times more than I enjoy geometry.
You know, I preferred that in high school as well. Okay, any questions on those 4? Dank.
You said
Hey,
in high
wait,
school.
why do I have
you like
this?
geometry more now?
Oh, I ended up blank slide there. Okay.
Mr. Paul never answers questions.
Good. Okay. What?
Never answers questions.
I know. Okay. I never taught algebra 2 at high school level.
Okay, well, it's
Sorry.
fine. I taught it one time.
Yeah, I bet. Yes, this is the pass. Oh, yes.
I use
Good luck.
That's a block. Okay. I hope you don't need it. Okay. So use the graph to find the slope. Does it matter which point we start at?
No.
Heavens, no. Okay. So let's say we start from here. What's our rise? What's our rise?
Oh my god.
3.
3.
Gosh, count people.
What's our run?
5.
So the rise over run, our slope would be what?
2.
3 over 5.
3 over 5. Holy cow, people.
You guys are really like
0.6.
smashing it right now.
Okay, we leave it as a fraction. We like fractions for slope. That helps us interpret it later. Can we reduce it?
No.
No.
Wait, I have a question.
What?
What if there's points in between it though?
Then you could use a different point. But there wouldn't be if it's 3 over 5.
That's why.
Okay? Could we also go the other direction?
C.
Sure.
Okay, what's our rise here?
4.
4. 5. No.
It's
wait.
Negative 5.
It's
Negative.
What's our run?
Negative 5.
Negative 3 divided by negative 5 is
How did
what?
you get
How
that?
did you get
Negative
that?
3 fifths.
How did you get that? I just want to know.
How did
Where
you
do you
decide
see-
where to put it on?
Where in that area do you see a negative 3? Where?
Okay, so from here to here, how far down do we go?
Negative.
Okay, we go negative because we're going down, and how far down do we go?
3.
Negative 3.
But 3 is right there. Do you not see 1, 3, 5? It doesn't match up.
What?
Oh wait, but you're going to negative. Okay, never mind.
Oh,
Four
my.
line.
Going to negative.
You're not even blonde.
What? We did that first in the purple.
You really are.
I'm saying, hey, we go the other way too, and we get the same thing.
You're not much better.
Because a negative divided by negative is a,
Positive. Okay, that was
but fraction means we divide. So even though if we
Say
did,
that.
we know that a negative divided by negative will be a positive, so we can already make it a positive.
I just wanted to point out though.
Recap over fractions, guys. Recap over fractions. You don't have to write this part down, okay?
What if I did?
If you have a negative on the top, so let's say this is negative, like, I don't know, 4 over 5. That's the same thing as a negative on the bottom. Or the same thing as a negative out in front. We do not care where that negative is. As long as there is one negative, it's the same thing. Whereas if we have a negative on the top and a negative on the bottom, it's the same thing as it being positive, because a negative divided by negative is a positive.
Why is that? Who on earth was like, negative times negative equals positive? Like, who?
Lots of people. Okay. So, take a math history class sometime.
No. History class doesn't teach important things like that.
It doesn't.
So, for this one, I want you guys to find, excuse me, I want you guys to find our slope.
You.
Which one do we start off at?
It doesn't matter. I just showed that it doesn't matter. Once you have it, raise your hand. Or get questions, raise your hand. Put on a check. Put on a check. Put on a check. Yes.
Raise your hand higher.
You ready to do that? Do you have a question?
You're right.
Yeah. Hey, you guys got a really good outfit.
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
A really good outfit. So since you know that.
No, you're wrong.
No.
I think it's because I'm. Stop!
Probably.
You're right.
Oh, that's a 6. That's right.
He just said that. He said it was wrong. Mr. Paulson, I just feel like your tie is like super bulky up here. You know what I mean? Okay. Do not eat your tie.
I just keep waiting for you to like jump really high.
Ouch, I was
Like
like,
this?
Bang from, yeah.
Okay. So what did we get? Negative 1 over.
6.
Did it matter? Does it matter whether we have a negative 1 or a negative 6?
Yeah.
No, as long as one of them is negative, we're fine. The whole fraction is negative, okay? So it doesn't matter which point you start at. Say we go negative 1, then you go positive 6. Or you go positive 1 and negative 6. It doesn't matter. Yes. What? Oh, actually, I need to look that up. Well, S is reserved for cycling. So we call that S. And so slope is, I think it's something Latin. I think it's something Latin.
Wait, don't
I
we
can
change
look it up right now for you.
Don't we change it to 1 over 6 though?
It's only if both of them are negative. Because a negative divided by negative is a positive.
I
Okay?
was
Why
right.
did you
As long as
do
there's
that?
one negative sign. Do you not have a negative? Oh, that's awkward. I thought you did. Oh. Oh. Okay.
That's awkward.
That is awkward. Kevin.
This is a totally unrelated question,
Okay.
but how did your hair go from blonde to black?
cut it, and I stopped dying.
You died
You
with
died
that was
blonde?
a choice.
No, my hair just turned blonde for 3 years and then stopped.
Okay.
But those luscious
Um,
blonde locks.
It was it started out like you have to use some sort of bleaching anytime you go from dark to like super light. And then over time like it just kinda like less
you
the quality of the hair. No.
I would 110%.
I knew that was coming. As soon as you said it, like I see the smirk on your face, like, here it comes.
What made you think like I wanted that?
To be Thor. I pulled it off
Not
too.
me.
Wait, no you didn't.
No,
That,
you did
you look
not.
so like ratchet, I'm sorry. Like I am so proud of you for like coming clean and just being like, let me just cut this thing off.
Acting like I was like addicted to drugs or went to rehab. James Michael Stevens.
How did your hair die?
Well, actually, technically, everyone's hair dies as soon as it comes out of their head. But anyway,
Wait, what?
Graydon.
Yeah, your hair is
Let's find out.
the only thing that's living.
One common theory is that M stands for the first word in modulus and stuff.
Yeah, that's what you put your hair for. Also, if your hair was alive,
That's facts.
Ew.
Yeah, and
Oh
now
my
they're
goodness.
Yeah, so every time you get a hair's cut, or even just one haircut. Okay.
Like,
Continuing on. We got a lot to get through. Okay. Use your graphs to find the slope. Find the slope of these two, bottom left corner. That was. Hey, Betsy, are you playing basketball this year? Good.
That was really rude. What if she was?
I knew she wasn't.
Oh. What if she just like right in the middle, like I'm gonna play basketball?
Okay. Yeah, when you have or have questions, raise your hand. On both of these, when you have both or have questions, raise your hand. You want to have a check?
I think it's
No.
really hard.
Good.
Lord, let's see.
Okay, what's that mean?
I can't stop.
I got it correct. No.
Lit. Day.
This is why you're my favorite.
Fire.
No, you got it right. No, you're stupid. No. That's quite the flex.
Damn, done.
No, get a new eraser.
So Lori joined praying.
Yeah, it is. Get a new eraser.
Get a new eraser. How?
Whoa,
I already got
whoa,
a check
whoa,
by
whoa.
Maggie.
One, thank you, Ava.
What
Maggie, what's this slope? Because our rise is 0 and our run can be either positive 3 or negative 3. 0 divided by anything except for 0 is 0. Okay?
Connect your circle.
Donut.
Oh my goodness, donuts so good right now.
That's like a really weird donut.
Is that just me?
Taylor, what's the slope of this line?
On
Undefined. Very good, because our rise is like 3 or negative 3 and our run is 0. And anything divided by 0, well, that breaks math, so it's undefined.
Do I have to write n equals 0 and n equals undefined?
Yes, you would have to write 0 and undefined.
I wrote these 0 and undefined, so I have to write n equals
Where did she go?
Yes.
No. Are you serious?
Yes, I did.
Where did Riley go?
You can see it right there.
She's like gone.
She's in a better place.
That's not very hard to do to get out of your class.
I don't know.
That was very good.
Is your arm sore?
I did think we.
From throwing that shade.
Oh.
You don't lift enough, so. Anyway, find the slope given 2 points. Okay, so let's find the slope using these 2 points. Do you remember how to do this?
Minus 2.
I hope so. Let's try it out.
Maggie.
What?
Good luck.
Okay, you wanna know something I did? There's
forgot
like
how
a
to do
graph on the other side of this or whatever, and I was like, oh, he just like forgot to print it. So I took my pencil and I started writing the graph.
No.
You don't know what I'm saying.
You had a better algebra teacher than that. What? Oh.
That's like breaking every kindergartner teacher rule.
I got it first
I
try.
am my kindergarten.
Yeah, it's gonna fall back and you're gonna crack open your skull. I've seen it happen.
Unless you some kids scolding.
No, it's always, they always lie.
No, that's 5 minus 5 over x minus 7.
Oh, wait.
Oh, we're doing the question.
Oh, wait. Wait, so it's y1 minus y2 over x.
That's
Let's start with this first one set up here. Okay?
Got the
Yes.
answer.
Rachel, let me set up the first one.
7 minus 5
Okay?
over 4 minus 2.
Awesome, okay? So, did Rachel have to put 7 first?
No.
No, she could put 5 first. But because she did put 7 first, what did she have to do?
Put 4
Put 4 first. So, if you put 5 first, what would you have to put first? 2, okay? So here, 7 minus 5 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1. The slope is 1, which is right there. Okay. So, I like the way that Rachel did it because she did big minus small. So, if you have the choice, let's make your life easier. Instead of doing 5 minus 7, let's do 7 minus 5. Okay? I want you guys to try to do the second one now. Okay, and if you have questions or if you're done, raise your hand.
Wow, you calling me stupid?
Yes.
James, you're so mean.
I'm not didn't say
Reduce
that.
it.
Your Crocs are gone. I said reduce. Hey, Rachel.
Yeah, reduce that.
You should take Kayla's Crocs.
Go home, check.
2 over 2.
No. 2 or 2 would be 2.
Okay, 3 minus 8 plus
I should give you a mint.
So, home check.
That'd be awesome. Thinking about it.
Literally, no, I'm not.
Wait, no.
You literally just are. She's right.
6, 4, 3,
I got it wrong. You're right.
1 minus -2 6.
Oh, wait.
I got answer.
I don't think I'm wrong. I don't understand
Sis.
where I'm wrong. No, he's not. 3 over 2.
I'm being lied to.
3, 2, 3.
I'm not doing well.
Oh, it's
Yes.
no.
Negative? How is I don't understand why it's negative though.
4
Because
plus 2, so that puts you right at 8. But then you would have to do -1 minus 3.
Don't get it.
you know what I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna
You did this last year.
I am gonna come
You should have
out.
it down. Yeah. Did it for like 6 months.
3 plus, or 3 minus 1. 3 minus -1. That's like adding.
Oh my goodness. I forgot.
Let's talk about this one up here.
What was that for?
I'm being a disappointment. I'm being a disappointment.
Oh, close.
Perfect. Okay. So, Simone, help me set this one up. Ah.
Instead of -2 minus 4
Okay.
over 3 minus -1.
Very good. Okay. So if we do -2 first, we have to put 3 first. If we put -4, or if we put 4 first, we have to put -1 first. Woo-hoo. Okay. -2 minus 4 becoming more negative. What number do we get? -6. 3 minus a -1. Add the opposite. 3 plus 1 is 4. -6 divided by 4. Does that reduce? By what? 2 to give us -3 over 2. Doesn't matter whether the negatives on the top or the bottom or up front. Heck no. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Questions?
No, I was dropping out.
I got it.
I'm dropping out of this crowd next week. Okay. Go to the next page.
Why do you hate children?
Okay. Parallel perpendicular lines. Parallel lines have the what slope? Exact same slope. If they're parallel, they have the exact same slope, okay? So if it's, 2 lines are parallel, like one's going this way and one's going this way, they have to be increasing by the same rate. Otherwise, eventually, if they're even just slightly different, they're eventually going to intersect later on down the road if their slopes are even slightly different, okay? Okay. Anyway, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope. Opposite what? Opposite sign. If one's positive, the other one is negative. If one's negative, the other one is positive. Reciprocal, what's that mean? You flip it. It's like you flip the fraction, right? Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slope. They have the opposite sign, and you reciprocate, you flip the fraction. You make a fraction and flip it if you need that was one review again, okay? So, top right corner. Given the slope of the line M, yeah, I know it's really blurry. Given the slope of the line M, determine the slope of line N so that they are perpendicular. So if this is the slope of one line, what would be the perpendicular slope to 7 over 8? Negative 8 over 7. The slope of our perpendicular line, notice I put M, and I put this little perpendicular down below and say, hey, it's perpendicular slope. Perpendicular, okay? Be negative 8 over 7, okay?
What about negative 7 or negative 8 over negative 7?
Sure, I don't care where the negative is, as long as you have 1. Because it has to be the opposite sign as well. Say opposite reciprocal. Because otherwise, they wouldn't be perpendicular. If you can graph them. Okay. What would I do in number 2? If the slope is a negative 5, what would the perpendicular slope be, Kevin?
1 over 5.
Very good. 1 over 5. Negative 5 secretly over 1. Flip it and change the sign. What about 0?
0.
That'd be undefined. Because like 0 over 1 or 0 over any number, 1 divided by 0, well, that's undefined. Now let's think about it this way. The slope is 0, that'd be a horizontal line. And what would be perpendicular to a perfectly horizontal line? A vertical line, which would have an undefined slope. UND, EF, INED.
There was one day I'm pretty sure you spelled like helicopter wrong or something. and
Yeah.
I went home and I searched it up.
I remember that. Okay. Questions on this?
What? Hold it wrong.
Not everyone's a bad student.
We have laptops.
Okay. Determine whether that should be a line. Ooh.
So you have to graduate with that.
Okay. Whether line AB and line CD are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay. How do we tell if things are parallel, perpendicular, or neither?
They have the same slope.
The same slope, or if they have the opposite reciprocal slope, or literally anything else would be neither. So, how could we figure out if line AB has the same different slope, or what kind of slope it has compared to CD? Would we have to find the slope of both of those? Yes. How could we find the slope of line AB? By using what points?
Negative 1 or what? No, not
By using points A and B. Points A and B have to be on line AB. What points have to be on line CD? C and D. So we can find the slope between A and B, find the slope between C and D, and compare. Somebody help me set up finding the slope of line AB.
Are you calling on someone?
Okay? Yes, minus a negative 11. Okay? So you can do 13 minus 0 over 14 minus a negative 11. Okay? 13 minus 0, last I checked, for our slope of AB is 13. 2 negatives in a row, we add the opposite. 14 plus 11 is 25, which is funnier than 24. Does that reduce? No. Are we done?
Sure.
No.
Well, not actually, because you have to look at
The slope of CD.
Technically, that's wrong.
Is it? That's your
Line.
So,
Where's your line?
what would this be? Great, help me set this one up.
Negative 3. Nope. Negative. Nope. 7 minus 5 minus 5 over negative 3 minus 4.
Okay. 7 minus a negative 5, change it to add. Negative 3 minus a negative 4, change that to adding a positive as well. 7 plus 5 is 12. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. 12 over 1 is just 12. And Rachel is correct. That's neither. There's no relationship. They're not the same. They're not opposite reciprocal. So these lines are neither. I want you guys to try this one. You don't get tell what? Nope. Sometimes they can reduce.
Do we not need the lines? Like over AB?
No.
Line AB?
They're for the slope. That's just tedious to draw at that point.
Good luck, Betsy. Be safe.
Okay. Let's work on number 2 there, please. When you have it or have questions, raise your hand.
Okay.
Oh, I don't like What?
It just doesn't look right, and I don't know why, like, it's.
You're such a terrible
Oh,
person.
look, I have
Well, you could
tailor. I think
No.
it's not so tight, so it's just around.
Was I the shirt?
But it's not tight.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty disgusting. Do you have a way to?
You should have just wanted it.
I know what you mean.
Oh, okay, good.
You just didn't care.
Glad you understood. 'Cause that was easy to say.
Let's talk about this one up here. What's the slope of line AB for this one? What's it end up being?
3 over -2.
Okay. A negative 3/2. We don't care where the negative is. What's the slope of this line end up being?
2 over 3.
2 over 3. And what do we notice? They're opposite and reciprocal, so these are perpendicular. Perpendicular. Questions? Okay, let's go to the next one.
Why
Okay.
is this valuable to my future?
Okay. Graph one that satisfies the condition. Contains the point B, -4, 2. So that's to contain that point, so we can go ahead and graph that point. Not surprised, okay? But it has to be parallel to line FG. So how could we make sure it's parallel to line FG? They have to have the same
I don't know.
slope. So how do we know they have the same slope?
Because it says do that.
So how do we find the slope that we use?
You.
Why?
Okay, we can graph the points and count. We can graph F and G and count, or we can do our slope by using our formula as well, right? Either way is fine. You can graph the points and count, or you can use our formula either way.
Go to you.
So on the middle right of the page, yes.
Oh,
wrong
graph.
On the middle right of the page, right? On the middle right of the page, we're trying to graph a line that satisfies the condition. It goes to this point, and it's parallel to this line. Well, it's parallel, we need to know the slope.
But it's not even a line.
This is a line.
But B's not a line.
No. But the line has to go through B and be parallel to this.
Wait,
So we know it goes through B. We find the slope. What's the slope of FG, guys?
1/4.
Yeah.
So what's the slope of this line have to be?
1/4.
How can we find another point now?
Wow, crazy, right?
Do we graph a line that satisfies the condition?
Sure.
Right. It goes through B and it's parallel to this.
Crazy, right?
Tell by the way it is.
Okay. So, did you find the slope of this? Okay. We don't know. We had to find it.
Oh, okay. We did?
Yes, I wrote this. It's my handwriting.
Okay.
You tell me how bad it is. Okay. So if a line contains this point, we're going to graph that point. If it's parallel to this, we know. We know it has the same slope as this line. It's parallel, so it's the same slope. So we find the slope. Rachel. So we find the slope, which we did. We found the slope to 1/4. We know how to do that. Okay, right? Okay. Then we say, okay, well this slope is 1/4. How can I find the point? Okay, Kevin.
How did you get the point to 0, 3? Like after you found the slope?
From here, the rise is 1, the rise is 4.
Oh, you went from point B? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was over 1. Yes.
Would I have to grab this? If I just use the formula, do I have to plot
No.
that?
Continuing on. Okay, we're gonna do this one as well. Graph a line that satisfies the condition. It contains negative 3 comma 0, that's our starting point, which is B, and it's parallel to FG. Or excuse me, not parallel, it's perpendicular. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so we could either find the slope of FG one of two ways. We can do it graphically by doing rise over run, plotting the points and doing rise over run, or we can do it numerically, algebraically, by doing the slope formula. So we say the run is 4, the rise is -6.
Hey, when do we get our practice days?
What's that reduced to? I don't know. What's that reduced to?
Wait.
Kevin? -3 over 2. So the slope of FG is -3 over 2. Can you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Wait.
No, yes.
Yes.
It's right.
I agree with it.
Why do you disagree, Dublin? We're doing the same thing we did last time
Wait,
so
I
far.
didn't, for some reason I went down.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Kevin, Mimi.
So from here, our perpendicular slope is what then? I heard somebody say it.
2, 3.
2 over 3, very good. So from B, how do we make a new point?
Oh.
If our slope is 2/3, how do we make a new point from B?
Up 2, right 3.
Up 2, right 3. Could you also go down 2? And then you go where 3?
Left.
Oh.
And that would be perpendicular to our original line, which we can then see. And we prove that by our slopes. Nice Joseph.
Oh.
So from here, it runs 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rises or falls. Back to G.
Why they spin your hair?
It was an accident. They weren't gonna shape it.
Continuing on, bottom right here. Okay? The equation of a line. Okay? So we're going to talk about two ways to do the equation of a line, and one feeds into the other. We call one point slope and one slope intercept. You should remember at the very least slope intercept. Okay? Unless you forget. You learned both in algebra 1, but we used slope intercept way more. Okay, Taylor?
Isn't there another equation?
Yes, there's a standard form.
That's
AX plus BY equals C, but we won't use that here.
These are
So-
Christmas colors.
I know. Blue. It's blue now.
Thank you.
I love these things so much.
You got the blue now?
Appreciate it.
So, slope intercept y equals mx plus b. Do you guys remember what y is? That's our y like normal. Our x is x like normal. What's m? Slope. What's the b?
The y-intercept.
The y-intercept, which is where it crosses which axis? Which is where it crosses which axis?
The
The y-axis, okay? So, if we're writing an equation in slope-intercept form, if m is -4, b is -12, what can we do with -4 and -12?
plug them in.
Plug in. So we have y equals what?
-4x plus 12.
Plus.
Minus
Right,
12.
that's what it said.
That's exactly
Yes.
what I heard.
Okay. Boom. It's in slope-intercept form.
Why are you helping?
We did this.
Yeah, why am I helping you? That's so gross.
Okay. Question. Here.
Answer.
How do we do this one? Can we put it in point slope form? Can we put it in slope-intercept form right away?
Yes, actually, you can.
We can do it in points.
Because
I'm so
I'm
tired.
gonna have you hold your thought. I love it. Okay? But right now it looks like we're given a point and the slope. So we might have to use point slope, hence point slope, point
Oh,
slope,
okay.
point slope, point slope. Slope intercept, point slope, point slope. Okay? So y minus y1. You do y minus whatever the y is here. Is equal to m. 9 times x minus x1, which is 0. Yeah, y1 and x1 come from our ordered pair. The normal and y and x stay with normal y and x. And from there we have to solve for y. So our first step would be to distribute. Y minus 5 is equal to 9x minus 0. Add 5 to both sides. And we end up getting y equals 9x plus 5. And we we put it in slope-intercept form like it asked us to.
Or we could have just not done that problem.
Okay, Taylor, how could we have done it differently?
Well, the point on there is actually the y, where it crosses the y-axis.
How do you know that?
Because it's, the answer is 0, so that's. the
Whenever
answer.
x is 0, think about it this way, guys. If it's crossing this y-axis, what does x have to be?
0.
0. X can't be 3, x can't be negative 3, x has to be 0. So this is really secretly b. So y equals 9x plus 5. Okay? Hi, confused, Mr. Constable. Nice to meet you. Why are you
Ha
confused?
ha ha ha, you're so funny,
I know. Why are you
I
confused?
love your joke. They make me laugh.
Okay.
And how we know that's the y-intercept?
So what?
Don't
Okay, graph that point on that.
I did.
Graph this point.
Actually, I don't judge
What?
you thoroughly.
What was?
Better out than in.
Which one? Zero, five?
I guess.
Zero.
Yes, we'll try. Okay.
Is that, does it cross?
Continuing on to the next page.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited that Mr. Constable.
Use where it crosses the y-axis.
We're gonna speed run this page.
You know that?
Yay. So we're not gonna do that.
I mean, if we want to do a
Yeah.
super speed run, we can
So when it
skip it.
hits
Oh.
this, that's your beat. That's where you
You guys
start.
might not like that. Okay. So,
And you go up.
we're gonna write an equation in slope-intercept form from the given information. So we have the slope, and what else were we given?
A point.
A point. So which one are we gonna use?
Point slope.
Point slope.
Whoa.
Okay, I want you guys to try and put it in a point slope and solve for y. aka put it in the slope-intercept. So use point slope to get it to slope-intercept. Okay.
Where are we
So
at?
what are
Wait,
we?
I know what you mean now.
Okay, the top left of the next page. Carly, do you have it? We have a
One
question.
question.
Okay.
Can you not do it when you have y equals 2x and you plug in your x, y? From the 20 thing?
Oh, I can do that. Okay. So, I'll bring that up afterwards. Okay, Carly, that's a great point. I love that you thought of that. You want to help me check? Oh,
Wait, we have to do this one.
yep, do the first one.
Why do you check?
Do you want to help check, Sarah?
Sure.
Okay. Do you want to help check? Go ahead.
Oh,
Go.
Oh, yeah, because that's the, so that's. That's a minus sign.
That changes. Very good.
Remember my Fifis, all two of my feelings.
Oh, sorry.
How does that help?
You get 10 opportunities to show what you know. You get 10 opportunities to improve your knowledge. Okay, let's talk about this one up here. So what we probably did was y minus y1, y minus 6 is equal to 2 times x minus 4, correct? Okay, so then we distribute the 2. Y minus 6 is equal to 2x minus 8. Add 6, add 6. Y is equal to 2x minus 2. We put it in slope-intercept form like it asked. Another way you could address this was something that Carly brought up, which is super something you can do. We know we need it in y mx equals mx plus b. We know the m is 2. Y equals 2x plus b. We don't know b yet, but we have a point. So something you can do is you can plug in 4 as the x and 6 as the y and solve for b if you want. 6 equals 8 plus b, subtract 8, negative 2 equals b. Now we can plug it back in, y equals 2x minus 2. You get the same answer. If you prefer one or the other, that's cool. If that confused you what I just did, ignore that it happened. Kevin. Okay. If we do the next example here, what do we notice? We're given
Points.
two
But you
points.
could do y1 and y2 over x1.
To find the what?
The m.
Slope. Okay, we need the slope for either of these, so we can find slope. So we first have to find slope, then can we do the problem?
Yes.
Yes, I want you guys to try this one. Okay?
Why?
Because I mean,
No,
Okay.
I'm talking to Tate.
Puzzle.
oh.
Y1.
Alright, I already have your answer.
Okay, what's negative to the negative? So it becomes what number? Positive. What's negative to the positive? Negative to negative 1. Plus 9. And it's what kind of term? Yep. Come on, check. So.
Well, now that we married, what we should just find our. So, I would find some.
Okay, what equation?
So if it's M. Going back to this. How do we find some? Go back to here.
We literally did it.
Y2 minus y. Subtract the y, subtract the x, right? That's what it has to do. So subtract the y's. Doesn't matter whether you do 9 minus 3 or 3 minus 9. No, but what does matter? If you do 9 first, what has to be first and last? If you do 9 first, and then x first, and then lots just is what it is. So rise over up. Or the y's. Bring the x's. The y is on top, 9 and 3 have to go on top. And you said it like has on the bottom. The order is entirely true by which y you put first. I put 3 first, I have to put negative 5 first. I put 9 first, I have to put 7 first. Your slope is right.
It's funny, so okay. So
Finding X.
like all my girlfriend and I do it when we get together and hang out.
You just found X.
And like, but like we never like have enough. Like we always like have someone we want to share with each other. So like, oh, what happened? And so we like have a note. So like, you know, like here. And so one thing I have written in there is actually like is your quote from last week. I'm saying like, Mr. Costa, I feel like you just go home and get sad on Saturday and say, oh, only 36 more days till next Fun Sock Friday. So that cracks me up a lot. So yes, I am a little bit sad. I'll still wear my Fun Socks. I'll still take a picture. I'll tell you guys about it next week.
You should like send me a picture so I can post it on my Instagram story.
Okay, let's talk about this one up here. Okay, what do we find the slope to be?
3, negative 3.
Negative 3. So then from there you can use slope, point slope form or slope intercept. We're fine with either. Now, if we use point slope, which point should we use? Does it matter which of these 2 points we use? No. Personally, I choose this one. Does anyone know why I choose this one? Smaller numbers. Okay, you can choose either. Personally, I choose that one, smaller numbers. Okay, y minus 3 is equal to, well, first of all, we have to take care of this double negative and distribute the negative 3. Negative 3x minus 15. Add 3, add 3. Y is equal to negative 3x minus what? Well, questions on that? Okay, so whenever it says to put it in slope-intercept form at the end, we always solve for y, okay? I'm always going to be asking you guys to solve for y afterwards, okay? Okay, I want you guys to try the 4th problem here. Okay? Howdy, howdy.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I got it. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Nope, I don't understand.
Let me talk about this one a little bit more. Sorry, I had to rush, okay?
That's
We're
fine.
finding the equation of a line that goes through this point and is perpendicular to this, okay? Well, for either of these, what do we need in order to use our equation? We need the slope. Either way, we need our slope. We have a point, but we need our slope. Does everyone know what problem we're on first of all? Okay, the fourth one, the middle right. Okay? So we have a point, it goes through this point. Find the equation of a line that goes through this point. So we have a point. So we're probably going to use point slope, but we still need slope. Okay? How do we find slope? Well, we're told it's perpendicular to this line. Well, it's perpendicular to this line. Can we find the slope of this line to help us? Yes. What's the slope of this line? What's the slope of this line? Y equals 2x minus 4. 2. How do we know that? What's it with? The x. And it's already solved for y. So what's the slope of our perpendicular line? -1/2. Perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal. Now do we have our slope and our point? Now can we use point slope form? Yes, go ahead and do that, please, and thank you. Okay?
Wait, what?
Yeah. I know how I do it.
I'm so confused.
So we have
Come on, get what? Oh, hi, James. Kevin is I.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, I thought you said you read it wrong because you're out.
Yes,
No, I thought it looks like it's 2.5.
Oh, no.
Oh, I see that now.
I
Sorry,
got
I saw the
one
two.
X.
Yeah, 2.5.
Half
Wait a minute.
Check.
plus 1 and 1. I don't know what I'm doing now, so I can't tell you.
No, I need help on one.
I don't agree with that.
And then we add, what's the 3 times 7? New one.
Is that hurt?
But,
Oh my goodness.
y equals -3 x
Right there.
plus 18. How did I get 18? Where did you get? And then you got 30.
Negative. Plus. Bigger than plus negative.
You got it right.
Oh, because I did negative. Yeah.
Oh.
I knew I had to
Okay, so we know it goes to this point.
How do you know?
I tried once.
You add
Maybe if your legs are so short.
So we have
With your short legs.
I still got it.
Start fresh,
No. No,
Where's mine? Where's mine? Where's mine? Where's mine?
Someone who likes
There's no little
to
leaders.
Like a lot.
There was a weed convention in town, and I was like,
I want to use 79.
no, in Omaha.
Let's talk about this one up here, guys. Okay? So we have our point, we have our slope. We know it goes to this point, and we know it has this slope. This is perpendicular to this line. Okay? So use point slope form. Y minus 2 is equal to -1/2 times x minus 1. From there, we distribute. Y minus 2, -1/2 times x is -1/2 x. -1/2 times -1 is a positive 1/2. From there, we add 2 to both sides. Well, 2, we can say that's either 2.5, or we can say 2 is the same thing as how many halves? 2 is the same thing as how many halves? 4 halves. So 4 plus 1 is 5 halves. So either you can have 5/2, 2.5, 2.5. I'm good with any of those. I typically end up using improper fractional forms. Okay? We are done. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna do quarter mile, then we
Let me
can.
get another. You can
I'm gonna have 6 days to do this. No, I have a whole week to do this. I'm still not doing it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't say you're like, it really is.
Wait, somebody-
Man, look at that. Crazy.
What's your mind?
Great, 6 legs on the floor.
Thank you.
Haha.
No, it's just a common expression.
That's
Like, I saw you give me a drink earlier, so I'm like, oh, you guys are like,
Oh my god, y'all are supposed to be
Wait, Johnny, right there.
Okay, I got
Thank you.
one, I got 1 over 5.
Hey, I know this one's a little bit long, guys, okay? But I believe in you.
I don't.
I have to write all this down. And two, and
alright, please tell me you're gonna be like, I'll do 7 through the rest.
But I did count out a ton. It wasn't 4 pages before.
Mr. Cross. Oh.
Whoa.
Just you wrote your
Fill it out.
You just open it up.
Fill it out.
No, it's a lighter.
Maggie, you just let me have it.
Wow, Maggie.
I actually didn't fill it out, I just put recipes. She filled it out with imaginary eating.
She checks mine like every time. She's done it like 4 times.
I can't believe I totally did not see that one. She just goes, have it, I go, that's the
Wow.
best. And it's in my
Are you saying like her attitude? Yeah, like never could ever have her attitude. As you idle.
Mr. Consul. Wait, are we?
Yes,
You have all of her
yes you have.
together?
Yeah, what?